overjoyed really to express and to show and introduce you to Chanile Vines. Um, I always get this word wrong, but you're definitely the first one I've ever met. A sommelier.
Oh, sommelier, yeah.
I've been practicing. Um, a Caribbean sommelier, more directly Jamaican sommelier that's based now in Canada. And we're going to talk about various things. But first of all, let me say welcome to the Rum and Bass show. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. It's cold in Canada, but I'm good. I'm trying to um, drink some nice wines and listen to good music. We always know what to do to keep our spirits and everything high. So I'm still feeling good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, so, done a bit of research and recognized that you moved to Canada to go to university.
Yeah.
And you are a qualified psychologist.
Yes. I don't use the term psychologist just because I don't do therapy. So I do
Okay.
research.
All right.
So I say more that I'm a research psychologist because I know a lot of times people hear psychologist, they think couch and and it's more lab data work that I do.
Okay. That sounds interesting. So, lab data, what does that look like? Sorry, I'm gonna ask you all kinds of questions.
No, no, that's
Okay.
that's that's good. So I started my research career in dementia research, which
Hmm.
is this the study of is more of a you can have early onset, but it's more of like a later age disease that has a lot of memory issues and cognitive decline. So I started out doing research on what we call cognitive stimulation. So just finding different ways or searching for different forms of stimulations, drugs and other sources to see if we can slow down the rate of decline.
Okay.
So I was in a lot of the different homes. We were doing some paper-based things too, just to see if we could find different sets of things that we could try to slow down the rate of dementia. So that's how I started in my career, and now I got a little burnt out in healthcare. I think a lot of people in healthcare knows after a while it does take a toll. So right now I do tech. So I'm more so in like the AI research, but previously it was healthcare. So there's a
Okay.
lot of ways you can use a psychology background, but a huge part of it is that you have to do a ton of research. And so you can end up translating that in different fields too.
Okay. And dementia, I did do some research, and I'm not gonna continue saying I did some research. It's gonna be apparent. It's gonna be apparent. Um, I had a family member that had dementia as well, and so it's one of those. Would you say it's a disease?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that you don't necessarily you see it kicking in slowly sometimes, and then but you don't necessarily recognize that you go from one point to the person just not even knowing who you are sometimes, etc., etc., etc. Um, and I feel like within our community, things like that aren't spoken about enough. Um, is that something that you feel? Is that one of the reasons why you kind of got involved with it to maybe show people, or no?
Yes, so my grandmother, she moved here when she got a little bit older because all of her daughters are here. And towards the end of her life, I was taking care of her. And she started to have, I would say, moderate decline. I wouldn't put her into like a severe category, but needed help with like daily tasks, and she was a little bit more confused and would start not quite remembering, or you have to prompt her to say, "Oh, this is Chanile," and she'd be like, "Okay." So yeah, she started to have a tough time, and that's how I got interested. I wanted to kind of understand what was happening, And like you're saying, there isn't a lot of information. I think a lot of sometimes in our culture, it's just seen as just a natural part of aging, and it's actually not a natural part. Form of aging. It is, there are different reasons why people have onset, and the reason why it is a disease is that you can have early onset. So we had people in our lab that had it as early as in their 30s. So you can actually end up with early onset. But I did find that there wasn't a lot of cultural aspects to like understanding how this disease show up in different cultures, and why some cultures have it much less, because there is a correlation between cultures like North America, where there's more silos and less community, versus other cultures. But yeah, there was a lot of gaps, and I was very interested in it. But it was a very big, it was a huge endeavor.
Mm.
And you have to be so involved. So I was in hospitals every single day, and so after a while, I did get a little bit tired,
Yeah,
and maybe at some point I will return. I can see that happening, but yeah.
but not for now. But not for now. Um,
Not for now. Yeah.
so what I like in well in some of the stuff that I found on you, where you speak of giving every dream life, and how as a young as a person that came from rural Jamaica, no running water, I understand that completely,
Yeah.
no running water, etc., to now living in Canada. How are you finding this journey? Well, how was that journey for you? Because there's many people as that was on the same path, you know. So how have you found that journey?
Um, how do I find the journey? That's a good question. I think even that philosophy of giving every dream life started as a survival mechanism. Now I will say it's less survival and more like, yeah, this is how I live. But I think when I first moved here, apart from just being like shocked by the cold, I moved in September, and I
Yeah.
remember I was at school and they had the winter semester guide come out, and I was like, why are they calling January winter? I promise I'm not stupid. I'm about 20% stupid, but sometimes 20% have me in a chokehold. But I was like, why is January winter semester? I thought winter finished in December. And the laugh I got, because I'm not in Jamaica checking seasons. This is wet or dry. Is this going to be rain or not? So
Hmm.
when winter actually happened, I was like, this is crazy. And I remember, I thought of this story recently too. I remember I was taking the bus home and I was short. I was using cash. We were using cash at that time, like coins. That was a card. But I remember I was 10 cent, one of the little penny short. And I dropped all the money in and they counts the money. And the guy was like, "You're 10, like you're short." And I was just like, "I think I dropped, like I had count the cash before. I must have dropped it. It's 10 cents." And he wouldn't let me get on the bus. And somebody in the bus had to give me the coin. And I think it was like a 30 or 40 minutes bus drive. And I cried the whole bus drive because I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this is not going to be an easy country. It won't be an easy experience. And I have to find a way to pick the experience that I want to have. And one of the things that I realized helped me a lot was I started to do a lot of different things. And because I was doing so many different things that I was interested in, opportunities were just always there. Got a lot of no's, a lot of failures, but they just never hit that hard because I had other things happening. And so at first it started as just let me just make sure I have multiple jobs. They always laugh that Jamaicans always have like 50 jobs. And it's true.
Everybody must work.
So at first it was just like, oh, let me just have a lot of jobs and let me just be involved in a lot of things. And after a while I realized that, oh, it this really has come in handy. It really has helped me to shoulder a lot of different things just because I had different sources of income. I had different people I could go to for different help because those are the hidden things we don't talk about when we migrate. It's not just coming to a country and trying to settle. You don't have a community. People who went to high school together or went to church together and they have a lot of community and a lot of people to call on. It's worse. I mean, I came in university, so I got a community in university and people who I went to school that I can call on now. I can't imagine coming as an adult and then going to work. You don't have community, you don't have people you can call on. So that was for me was an ability to spread out the risk, what felt like a huge risk to try and build a life here was to just try different things. And after a while, it really allowed me now to live a life that I'm enjoying and allow me to opt in and out of some of the things that I'm doing. And I think the biggest benefit of it is allowed me to say no to anything that don't sit right with my spirit because I don't need to stay anywhere. So that it's now become like a philosophy for me to just try different things, enjoy different things, but to be able to say, oh, I don't want to do that. That's against my integrity or not in line and not feel any way about it because I feel it's tough to do that if you have one job and they're asking you to do something you don't want to do, but that's how you take care of your life. It's very hard to say no or move on from something like that. It's a little easier if the things that protect you and take care of you are spread out a little bit.
And would you say that that slightly is an abundance mindset of, I'm not limited to this one thing. I know that, regardless of what happens right now, something better is over there or over the next way. I can make something happen.
Yeah, and that's a really poignant thought because I didn't even think about it that way. That the reason why I probably started doing that was because I had an abundance mindset. Because in my head is I know the abundance came first, like I was doing all these things and then the abundance came and I was like, oh great. But then now I'm thinking about it and I was like, no, you're probably right. I think I had a mindset which is to create the abundance, let me do more, see more. And that actually in turn actually gave me more opportunity.
Well, it allowed you to be to be confident as a Jamaican.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even do the. We're gonna speak on that in a little while as well. So you're in the country. You decided to. Did you decide? Oh, I'm gonna go to Canada, or was it like family was there and you decided, oh, I'm gonna go see the family? Was Canada like the choice?
Yeah, I have a lot of aunts here.
Mhm.
So my mom's sisters, I think all of her sisters are here, all four of them. Does she have any more sisters? They're all here. And I think so it became a very easy decision to come here.
Mhm.
So I had applied for university in Jamaica, I had gotten in, and so instead of going to UWI, I moved here. Yeah, so it was more so just having family relations. At that point, my mom is a teacher, and at that point, Canada needed teachers, especially with math, and that's what she does. So she was able to file for us. So in terms of ease of coming to a country, I had one of the easier process. So she filed for permanent residency, we call it. I was a dependent on, so I got permanent residency. And because I was here and in school, because I was permanent resident, I wasn't paying an exorbitant rate for school. I was paying like everyone else. And then I was here for school, so I just applied for my citizenship after a while. So I had one of the more easier transition to move here. Oop, I think you're frozen. Okay, I'm gonna leave and come back in. Or maybe give you a second. Let's see.
Don't know what happened there, but gonna try and get in contact with Chanile and get back on it again. Check, check, check.
Okay.
We're back.
Yes, yes. I was waiting for a bit, but then I said, let me come off so the you can get one piece of the recording and then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah, no
know.
problem,
Yeah.
no problem. I mean, I continued it, but I can chop it and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, right. So you're saying that the pathway to get into Canada was easier, was probably more apparent, and like you saw a pathway to follow. Um, so how did you get into what? Tell me about the pathway to get into wine tasting. What happened before that? How did we get all the way over there?
All the way over. um So I think the reason I ended up in wine was when I was in university and then post university I was doing a lot of events planning. So in university you have to have a little student job, and my job on campus was to put on cultural events for the campus. So I was doing like Diwali and Caribbean celebration and all these things. So when you leave with a bachelor's in psychology, you're really not qualified to do anything. So I was not like I could go into a hospital or go anywhere to work. So I started to do a little bit more, going back to that just abundance and just using every talent I had. I realized I was pretty good at putting on events. So I
Okay.
ended up just doing some event planning, and that's actually a pretty. I know a lot of times people don't realize how many careers there are out there and that they're well paid. But I started working in events and realized that there were people who are doing event planning at major corporations, VP level, that were
Mhm.
making doctor salary. I was like, what is happening? I was, what is happening here? I had no idea that that was a thing. But I started doing events, and that became the thing that I just did for fun on the side. So I started, once I went back to school and started working in healthcare, I started to just do small events. And I did a wine tasting once. I just put on a wine tasting as one of these series of events that I was doing. And I just remember standing there, people were having fun, we're having discussion, and I just stood there and I was like, I could do this forever. Like I really like this. I like the vibe of the room. I like how people are being open. I like this. And so I started to do more events, plan more events. Then I started to get into a little bit more media work. So I did some television segments doing like wine pairings and things like that. And I started to find that I'm not somebody who likes to talk about life in a sad way. I like to be playful. I have a lot of trust in God, so I'm like, I can only be woe is me for too much and no more. So I found that it was an easier way. I found that teaching about wine and teaching about life through wine was an easy way to do it because it essentially had this lightness to it that I liked. You could still talk powerful lessons without people feeling as if you're preaching to them or giving them a psychoanalysis. So I liked it. I liked just talking about like life through wine. And so that's how those two worlds kind of started to come
Yeah.
together. And I just felt like the better I got at wine, the better I was able to be able to do that. So I went and did my certification, which was a trek to become a sommelier. So I went
The
and got
Somali, not Shmali.
that. You
No,
know
I'm
what?
not. I
For
don't want to be on
me,
the road looking wicked, you know.
no, no, no. So I'm the first person to be like, if it's a French word, don't bother me with it. I
All
can't.
right.
I don't. It's a
All right.
French word, and French is a, for me, French is a tougher language to do, and it's so much of wine is in French. But I
Mhm.
always say, like, the aim of communication is for me to understand you and you to understand me. That's it.
True.
If we hit the nail on that head and I understand you, we're good.
'Cause look, you're the only wine expert I know here. So I'm gonna say you told me. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I like what you said about teaching and speaking on life through wine. And I watched one of your reels, well, TikToks, and you spoke on, and please forgive me for paraphrasing incorrectly here, but you spoke about sometimes you don't just show up. It's forced upon you. You have no choice but to be there. I can't remember exactly the wording, but it's something along those lines. And it's almost saying, if I was to put it in my words, where you just have to you have to do it with chess, and you have to be there, and you have to represent. You were speaking about a wine at the time, but I felt like you were speaking about life, and
Yeah.
just there's times where you just have no choice but to be there, and once you're there, you have to just stand up and be yourself and be everything that you can be. And I really enjoyed the way. Well, for me, I took that from it. Some people might just take full-bodied wine and yes,
Yeah.
and that's that. So I'm really glad that you said that you do speak life into it. 'Cause I felt like I might have been just reading too much into it, but I feel like it's the right way. Um, what were some of the challenges that you met becoming a sommelier?
Ooh, some of the challenges. I think one of the biggest challenge is it's very hard when you're trying to do something that there's not a lot of people around you that's doing it, because then you don't have many people to talk to. And I feel like for a lot of people, even for you, like trying to do this big breakthrough in your social media. I'm really enjoying this interview. You can see you're very talented at this. I don't know if you have a community of people who are doing podcasts, or trying to
Yeah,
build up their.
everybody's trying to do a podcast, but
Yeah. So that might be a little bit, you will find, and it's funny. The reason why I asked too is because there's this narrative that, oh, everybody is doing that, and I'm like, is it? Because I don't know if I know much people. And I think when you're trying to do something and there isn't a lot of people around you that are doing the same thing or similar things, they may not understand. Like, to get ready for that exam, I was probably studying on top of working maybe 6 hours a day.
wow.
And people would be like, "You're studying to taste wine for how many hours?" It's puzzling, right? And they're like, What? Like, what is happening?" And you can end up feeling very lonely. I think for a lot of people in well, maybe it's not just even North America, maybe even England, I would assume would have the same issues. You end up not even being treated very well. And but I found that throughout like all of my career. So it wasn't a surprise. So you're working very hard, you're putting a lot into it, and people are just not responding to you. There's no help. You really have to have an internal drive. And I think if you don't have people around you that understands, then you don't really, or it doesn't have that built-in, oh, I understand what you're doing. So if you are like, oh, I'm trying to do law, people are like, oh, I understand. That's a lot of work. I get it. But when you're doing something that is still taxing, but no one understands like what is happening, not only are you alone within your community, but then you can feel that loneliness in wine when the only people that get the opportunities are white men, and then you're just like, oh, I'm doing all of this work and you're just by yourself. But it the biggest thing I learned from wine is really getting connected to my purpose for things. Like, why am I doing this? When you don't get any claps, no one is saying congrats or good job, it's just you and what you're trying to do. You have to get very, very clear on why you're doing it and what type of what are you trying to leave or impact in this world. And once you get clear about that, I felt like those challenges of not getting any help or hearing any feedback, those became less of a challenge because I realized that I have my own internal drive as to why I'm doing this. So I just continue.
That's a great answer. I saw a quote today and it said something like, "You're not always gonna have a support system, and
Yeah.
sometimes when you don't, you just gotta do it, right?" So
Yeah.
I've got a good friend that said when we speak on things like this and having a positive mental attitude and just saying, "Yo, I don't business if nobody, I don't care. I'll just do my thing."
Yeah.
She will always say that's Jamaican schooling or whatever. And we had a motto at my school, ever to excel.
Yeah.
Right? I'm wondering, did you have a motto at your school? Every
Yeah.
school normally does. Do you remember it?
Yeah, so I went to Bishop Gibson High School for Girls in Mandeville, and that
Mhm.
one was per ardua ad astra, through difficulties we attained the highest.
You
That
see?
was, yeah.
So it's ingrained within mentality from
Yeah,
the start. And so by the time you face some difficulties, you like you all said, through difficulties we aspire. So you're
yeah,
always gonna attain, sorry,
yes.
whatever there is to do, and you have your goals and your dreams. So young you at school before you moved to Canada, what was your dream? What was your main dream? It's like, boy, this life thing, I'm gonna do this with it.
Funnily, I think growing up, I wanted to do acting. And I
Okay.
think what drew me to acting was, one, you get to play different roles, and I thought that's so cool to get up one day and you're I don't know, like you're playing the role of a taxi driver. The next time you're a doctor. It's like you get to live all these different lives, right?
Mm.
And I one of the other things too, a lot of actors when I was growing up, I didn't have, I only had CVM and TVJ, and TVJ was grainy, so I didn't have much media.
Okay,
But
I
I
just had JBC, man. So
JBC. Yeah, but after a while, I started to realize too that people who were in those spaces, they got to do a lot of things. So I think at my core as a child, I was just drawn to the idea of being able to do a lot of things. And I realized that actors, singers were able, I couldn't sing, but actors, singers, they were able to launch perfume, do this, do, and I think I was drawn to that. I love storytelling. I love people. I think that's the core of a lot of what I do. Sometimes I get angry with myself for loving people, but I love people. So I love to see people happy. And I think that kind of drove me towards psychology, towards these things, because if I'm around or in a room and everyone seem to be happy and trying things, and that to me is a great moment. So I think that's how I ended up just being drawn to that. And I do a little bit of acting, and it's fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
good, 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 good. So is that part of the plans for the future? Acting, or are you gonna lock in on the wine thing and become the most famous Jamaican sommelier ever?
I probably, well, I did a short film last
I
year.
saw that.
Yeah, so I'll probably release that and then see where, but it's back to that abundance thing where it's just like, I'm always going to keep sharpening my tool, sharpening
Mhm.
what I do, get better. And then I'm going to share it, share my gift, and I let people take what they want and leave the rest. So if it happens that, I still study, continue my wine study, I compete in wine competitions, I do all of the things, and then I just let life decide how it wants to play. But I feel excited. There's an excitement that I have towards the things that I'm doing, and I think the fact that most of the things that I've done in life come from my hands, just me and God that do that do them. There's a sense of excitement in my stability. I'm not just waiting for the next thing to happen or somebody to give me the next thing. I am the one doing it and moving it forward. So
Motion.
yeah, you never know.
You said wine competitions. Tell me about these wine competitions. Explain to the people.
what
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 is it? What
what is
is it?
all in the what. So I'll break down the career in case anyone is listening and
Yeah.
saying, yeah, that kind of like wine, spirits, I like that. What does that look like? So
Mhm.
there's a number of different career, and I'll stick to wine, but think about wine, whatever I'm talking about in wine, there is an equivalent for beer, there's an equivalent for rum, there's an equivalent for pretty much all of these industries. And so the profession of sommelier isn't just wine, it's wine and spirits. You're expected to know a lot about rum, beer, whiskey, everything else also.
And you're qualified in this. Sorry
Yeah,
to cut. Cause remember, I just seen you on the wine thing, so I
the
never know say
wine,
the
yeah.
rum. I never know
It's
say the rum. Okay.
Yeah, it's wine heavy. It's wine
Mhm.
heavy because I know rum has its own certification
Mm.
also. There is some rum, it's not as developed, so a lot of people just go with the wine one, but you are expected to know cocktails, everything.
Okay.
You're supposed to know all the beverages, but every beverage has its own thing that you could double down and learn a lot about it. So once you study, you can work in a restaurant, which is where most sommelier end up. So you can be in a restaurant. These are like when you go to bigger restaurants, you will see somebody will come to you when you have the wine lists and talk to you about that. And those people will disappear after a while, and then you get your server. So that person is really just there for the wine and beverage. So they'll talk to you through the pairing. But there's lots of other places that you can work. You can work at a vineyard. So you can be at a vineyard when you go to a winery to visit. That's the person you see and talk to. You can work in an import company. So you're working with the importation and movement of wine. You can work at a tourism board. So we have huge wine regions in Canada, lots of countries. England has a huge wine region. They do a lot of sparkling wine. You can work for that board and help with tourism management around that. So there's a lot of different things you can do with the career itself. It just more so like, what do you like? Do you want to? I struggle with the restaurant aspect because I'm not very good at staying up beyond 9:30, 10 o'clock. And when you work in a restaurant, 10 p.m., you need to still be up. And I
Mhm.
struggle with that.
Okay.
So for me, it's more, I do more of the import. So I help to get brands into Canada, and I do more media relations. So like write wine articles. And then you have things like wine competition, which can have money attached to it. A lot of times too, it's just to help you become more noticeable, because wine regions will pay you to like an influencer. I always say that people in wine were the original influencers. People wouldn't buy a bottle of wine unless somebody said it's good. These are
True.
like the original influencers. So you get opportunities like that where you can go to France or go to a region and be immersed in that region, and you're expected to write about it, talk about it, the same way they would for influencers now. They will give you like a product, or the brand will take you on a trip. So all of these things are happening in the ecosystem. So there's so many things you can do. It's not just working in a restaurant.
Okay. So you said that obviously there's various avenues that you could go down as far as the wine tasting is concerned, and I think it's very clear. I don't have to say this; it's very transparent. I'm not a wine connoisseur like yourself. Um, I mean, I've drank a glass of rosé once or
Yeah.
twice. Mainly, I would drink rum, but watching your content made me think it's an interesting field. I know because you watch movies and people say, "Oh, you can get the such and such tones and these notes in this glass and smell it and do this and do that." And I've always felt this very interesting. It's not necessarily something I know about, obviously, but it's interesting the passion that you see when people speak on it. But it also seemed like, to me anyway, a very, we use the word snobby, um, exclusive then, let's say, or maybe cliquey type of environment where you can't easily become involved in that. So obviously, seeing somebody like yourself, and many people seeing somebody like yourself, will make them believe that this actually is a market that could be open to people that look like us and sound like us in a certain way, which is good, you know. So thank you. You're doing great work out there. So you have, you said competition though, and you didn't really delve into what the competition is that you're gonna get involved into.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so a part of the training that you do is blind tasting. So there's a lot
Okay.
of blind tasting competition, which is essentially they'll give you wines and then ask you to identify based on taste what type of wine it is. Is it Cabernet? Is it a Shiraz? Where is it from? So is this a Cabernet from France or is this a Cabernet from Napa? So that's the most of the competitions are around that. They have some other competitions too, where you will do service as part of the competition. I haven't done it or tried any of those, but you have ones, but most of them are blind tasting. They're just going to give you wines and then ask you to kind of identify what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That that sounds really, really good. So in in all with everything, you've got the acting and you played in little things as well, right?
Sorry.
Did you play a part in little things? Did I read that correctly somewhere?
Yes, yes.
Right. So you've got acting going, you've got obviously the psychology, you've got the wine tasting. What else is in the bag for Chanel?
I think that's it. I think
Mm.
those are. I think that's the ecosystem. Watch me say that, and then a couple years from now, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I picked up something. But for now, I think that's it. I think what I would like to do on my time here on Earth, I feel like with those three, I can actually accomplish that. So I feel like that's it for me.
No, we definitely feel like you will accomplish that, and it's great. Like I said, you're showing that there are so many different paths that you can take when it comes to not only wine, but obviously also speaking on, as you said, speaking on life, but making it relatable when you're speaking on something else. So it doesn't sound preachy. It sounds like we're chatting about wine, but if I want, I can take that lesson. So there's a few key things in what you said, which
Yeah,
is I give you what I give you, you take from that what you take from it. But fundamentally, it's
yeah,
my
this
gift
is
to you. It's
what.
my talent. It's my gift to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So, being why did you do a series on being as confident as a Jamaican? What made you go, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do a series on?
Oh, you do this one. So there's a few things that I wanted to make for myself, and then coming into 2026, and I think that's because that's something that I think you're really good at too. I feel like every time I watch something or a piece of content from you, you can tell that you love what you're doing. And I feel like that's a piece of authenticity that the minute people realized they could make more money in social media and all of that, that started to go down a lot. And I'm not knocking it. I think trying to figure out what other people want from you and doing that is in and of itself has its merit, but I think when it comes to satisfaction, longevity, being happy with what you do, you kind of have to also understand like what about this I love. So coming into 2026, there was a few things that I wanted to remind myself about. I wanted to remind myself from where my strength and confidence come from. I wanted to remind myself of how I actually do things. So I did another video on how to accomplish things. And there's one thing that I
Yeah.
wanted to add to it because there's three videos that I thought about that I wanted to set up that I haven't recorded the third one. And the third one was just that power of no and being able to be very confident in the face of rejection. So I will record that one soon. But the first one I did was the Jamaican and the confidence you have when you're from Jamaica. And it kind of came from just thinking about it. I just realized over time that, man, I've gotten a lot of no's, lot of, like, just a lot of toughness to try to get to where I'm at, and it just I never once questioned whether or not I could do something. And I started to really think about like where would that have come from and where else do I see it, and that's how I kind of ended up writing and recording that video.
No, I feel like that's great because I don't know if when you were going to school in Canada that you recognize that maybe Canadian people, not people, but maybe your peer group didn't necessarily carry the same amount of, I say to my friends, so sometimes you have that confidence where people might feel you're delusional, but it's just confidence. I just believe I can. If you said to
Yeah.
me tomorrow, yo, can you fly that plane? Yeah, man. No problem. It's just read two book, man. I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
obviously we know we can't fly the plane. We know that takes years of studying. But the point is the ability to say I'm prepared to try, and whilst I may fail, I'm still prepared to try. And I think a lot of people are not even prepared to try for the fear of that. And I think
Yeah.
there's a new series maybe that you're doing at the moment. I saw a new couple of more recent posts from you where you're speaking on positive mindset and just being the capability and the willingness to actually move forward and try and build on what you're doing. And again, those messages are appreciated and needed as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, is it Marcus Garvey? Don't let me get them wrong.
You got to
With
say it
doubt,
first.
with doubt, you're twice defeated in life.
Without
Was
confidence, you're twice
without
defeated.
confidence. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah. And I
Another
think that was
Jamaican.
that was a sorry.
Another Jamaican.
Yes, yes, yeah. But that was Marcus Garvey, right?
It was Marcus
Yes,
Garvey.
yes, okay. But I think that was a big eye opener for me when I moved here. I
Mm-hmm.
always say that I didn't know I was black until I moved to Canada. Like I knew I was black in Jamaica. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
it meant something.
Uh,
I didn't know that I would be seen and things would something would be ascribed to me based on the color of my skin, right? Like I
yeah.
think in Jamaica there's a lot of nothing is perfect, but I think when you grow up in a country where everybody most people are black, my teacher was black, my doctor was black, you're not walking around, you're thinking, oh well, if you're book smart or if you can run, you go do that. If you're not thinking that, oh, because I have a certain color I'm in trouble. And when I moved here, not only did I realize that there was all this narrative, I was seeing it play out because even though there is a good black population in Ontario, you're looking at the government and there's no black people. You go to work and at certain levels there's no black people, and it's just like, wow, what
Mm-hmm.
happened? And so you start to realize that, oh yes, there's something weird that's happening. And I always thought it was interesting because I know if somebody got up today and flew to a country and went to a local pub or something, and all they saw in the area was people with red hair. The first question they'll ask is, "How come everyone here has red hair?" And I felt like just being here, you'd go into rooms and it would all be there'll be nobody but white people, and I'm like, how is no one asking the question, why is it like this? I just started to realize, especially more recently in 2021, it's not that people weren't asking, people didn't care to change. And so you really have to, I think when I moved here, I really realized very quickly that internally you had to have your North Star and start to believe in yourself, because there's so many messages coming at you in different forms. Just the way you're saying it, well, why would I be interested in wine? Or this is not for me because I don't see, in so many subtle and aggressive way, it's told like this is not for you. And so you have to have that internal direction of, no, if I can dream it, if I think it, or what you were saying, if I think I can fly the plane, then I'll figure it out. Like, what do you mean?
The majority of it is that. I remember the first time I ran a marathon, right? I just said one day, "Sure, feel like running a marathon," and I
Yeah.
signed up for one. And I'm the kind of person that I'll figure it on the way. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna sit down and say, "Oh, let me make sure I wait till I get ready," and I'll figure it out.
Did
And I'm
you
so
run a marathon without training?
did 2 weeks of running, and then
Okay, you're trying. You at least got a little bit of training.
look at training, yeah.
Show up day one. This is my first day running.
Marathon.
It sounds about
My
Jamaica.
legs don't work anymore, but good. Yeah, no. But again, same thing though. It's having your, like you put it, North Star, your why, knowing why we're here, knowing why you're trying to do this, what you're trying to achieve, and going for that, without any doubts. Sometimes you might wake up and feel, sure, it's a hard day, but still going for it,
Yeah.
and we really appreciate that. Um, and we really appreciate this conversation. To be honest with you, it's definitely eye opening, and just realizing that all around the world we have similar challenges, but
Yeah.
ultimately, whilst you have your goals and you have something to work to, that's always gonna be key. And that's what no. In fact, I'm gonna ask, what gets you up in the morning? What makes you get up and decide to go for it in the morning?
Mornings are my favorite time.
Mine too.
One, I'm not very good at night, and it's probably because I wake up so early. So
Mhm.
by 10 o'clock, I'm really starting to struggle. But I feel like I wake up in the morning with a lot of possibilities. I feel like and it's funny. I don't think I've ever thought about it. Like, what is happening to me as I rest, why I wake up with such possibilities and just joy. But I'm a morning person. I wake up feeling like, oh yes, I'm gonna try these things in the day. I'm gonna push everything a little bit forward. I'm going to connect with the people I love. Like I get up very excited. But I think it has to do with the way I rest. I try to live a careful life so I can sleep well.
So it's not the wine that's helping you to sleep.
No, no, I don't even drink at night because it can really mess up your sleep.
Mm,
So I stay
mm,
away from drinking. But I sleep very, when you think about sometimes in life where you're stressed out or things are going left, you really can't sleep.
mm.
And I will say that I tend to have like really good night's sleep, and so I can wake up with a lot of enthusiasm. But I think it's a combination too of not having the day before any failures, taking it to heart, and realizing that, at the end of the day, sometimes you can feel a little nervous or even embarrassed to try and do something because it's like, oh, if I do this and I fail, everybody's gonna know. And I just go from, well, at least I did it. I did
Mm.
it. I did it. I tried it. And so every morning I wake up with that renewal of, oh, I get to try. I get to
Yeah.
try. Because so many people would have loved to wake up and they're not here. So I'm here. I get to try. That's enough. That's those two things are enough to just go. Yeah.
And that is a wonderful, wonderful mind frame.
Yeah.
So if people want to get in contact with you and speak to you on all matters, Chanile Vines, how can they do that?
So I think I'm trying to think. I think my Instagram is my name and also my TikTok. I'm pretty sure both of them are just my name. For sure, my Instagram is just my name, Chanile Vines. So I'm pretty, I'm pretty responsive to, like, if I get something, unless a couple months ago I was studying for a wine thing and I was
Busy.
not. But you can always tell, like, if I'm posting, then I'm probably, not too overly busy and I'm active. But if you don't see me on, like, if you don't see
Busy.
any posts, nothing, then I've gone off to go do something. But yeah, I tend to respond and just go by feeling. Like when you message me, I'm always good at just having a feeling towards something. That's how I hire people. I don't do a lot of interviewing or anything like that. I can tell from an email, like just the first contact, like, yep, yep, good, good. It's
You're
in
an energy
Jamaica.
person then.
Yeah, my spirit just check it. That's as far as I go for energy. I just know off the bat if my spirit check you or not. It's no hard feeling. If it doesn't, it's not because you're a
Mhm.
bad person. I have my ways, you have your ways. We might mesh, we may not, and I just keep it going. But for the most part, I'm pretty responsive, and if somebody is requesting or asking for help and I can, I'm always happy to do that. Like if I can help, I will. Yeah.
Fully appreciate that. So yeah, last words of advice or last words of education coming from you, the sommelier.
Yeah.
What would you say to a young person right now, whether it be in St. Catherine, Mandeville, wherever, that has dreams and ambitions of leaving Jamaica? to do something, not necessarily bigger, but to do something, what would you? What's your
Do.
words of advice to them?
I would say start where you are, and I know that's tough. It's tough because I think that's what I was saying at the beginning too. That moving here before university gave me a leg up than I think trying to move to a country as an adult. But the one thing I've seen over and over again, different people, including myself, is you don't actually get any better in thought. You don't get any clearer in thought. The Bible said faith without works is dead. So you have to start. You just have to start. So whatever it is that you're hoping to do elsewhere, start it where you're at. Because at the very least, you'll get sharper at it. And so that when you get the opportunity, because that's the worst thing that can happen too, you get a major opportunity, but you're not ready. So if you're thinking, oh, I want to move to sing, if I want to move to study something, see if Heart is offering that as a course. See if you can do it online. If it's a talent, can you start practicing sharpening your talent? If you're just like, you know what, I want to move to just make more money because I don't have any, there's not enough resources here. I'm not making any money. How are you living now? Like, understand money management. The worst thing that can happen is to get a big paycheck and don't know how to manage money. When I mean, I feel
Mhm.
like everybody abroad has had that moment where you get that first solid paycheck and up to, and 2 days it's done, because if you don't know how to manage $10, you can't manage 100, you can't manage 100,000. So
Mhm.
anything you're hoping that move will give you, if you have it in the works, you're getting ready to move, or you're not sure how, you're looking for opportunities to do that, as you're doing that, whatever it is that you're hoping to accomplish abroad, start practicing it now. Get ready, because if you want it, you probably will make it happen. And the last thing you want to do is to get a good opportunity and not be ready.
Brilliant words. And we're not gonna make you leave there because we had spoken about your favorite wines. We know we know we have the Australian ones, the French ones,
Yeah.
etc. Tell me, all right, I want to impress my friends, right? So I'm gonna cut this part of the interview. Right? No, I'm not really. What's the best wine when I go out? What should I be asking for, and what should I pair with what?
Ooh, okay. That's tough.
Some basic stuff that I can pronounce.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
after me, man. Look after me, man.
The first thing I will say too is whoever, if you're going out and you're at a restaurant and somebody like you're getting service, like there's nothing wrong with asking for recommendation.
All right.
So when somebody, I think a lot of time people approach things like, oh, I need to have all that information, and wine for some reason make people nervous and want to have that information. I'm like, you don't go to the doctor and be like, I need to know how the heart or however, and then that's health. You're not thinking that you ought to know, you're asking. And that's what
Mhm.
the professional is there for. And if you're somewhere where you're working with a professional and they're rude or they're making it awkward, understand that it's nothing to do with you, it's them, and they're the ones that need to be embarrassed because you're in the establishment to have an experience, and that's their job. Like, you would go nowhere else and you wouldn't expect to pull up to your lawyer office and know more about the law than your lawyer. That makes no
True.
sense. So if
True.
you go to a restaurant, the people that work in the restaurant should know more about food and wine than you, and their job is to help you get the best experience. In terms of like, if you wanted to enjoy a few wine or just try to see like what you like, the first thing I always say is whatever you love can give you an indication about how to approach something else. So for example, you love music, there's different styles and type of music, and same way there's different genre, or even within a genre there's different types. Same thing with wine. So when you think of like dancehall is different from reggae, you're thinking of, oh, Jamaican music, French wines. Well, within France, there's going to be different styles. And then when you go into dancehall, you're like, oh, wait, you have the different rhythms. So you have the one drop, you have the same thing, you have different type of grapes. And then you have different artists. So you know that Vibes Cartel is completely different from Movado. Same thing. Then so this is where I'm always like, I go with whatever somebody like, and I'm like, you see how complex it can get? Same thing with wine. But in general, if you like heavier wines, like if you're a rum person and you want to, I know a lot of people start with wine from maybe like sparkling or rosé because they're lighter. But if you are already have a palate for heavy things, like you drink rum, you drink whiskey, you will probably like heavier wines. You will like your Cabernet, you will like a Grenache, you will like things that are a little bit bigger, what we call big bodied wines.
Hi. Yeah, man. So,
You will
so hold on.
probably enjoy that.
Sorry to interrupt you there. So when I'm in the restaurant, the sommelier comes across and I say, "Yo, can you tell me what your big body wines are?"
Yes.
He's gonna know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah,
Oh, she will know. All right.
so that's the thing too, and most things in life are created with about four or five things. So in wine you have acidity, alcohol, sugar, tannin. That's it.
Honey, that's the
And
color.
tannin, that's the color. So the
Okay.
skin of the grape will give it, but what it does, it gives you that drying sensation. So that's the thing that a lot of times people don't like in red wine, when their mouth gets extremely dry. So tannin strips your mouth of protein, and then your mouth get dry. But
Okay.
those are the only four elements. So if you know them, you can use that to ask for anything. So that was a good question that you asked. So you can say, I like a I like a wine that has a lot of acidity, like a Sauvignon Blanc, something that's bright, it hits on your
Okay, that's
palate,
a great already.
right?
Yeah,
Or you're like, oh, I like a wine that has a lot of alcohol. That means it's going to be heavy. So even if it's a white wine, it's going to be a heavier white wine because the alcohol is what makes it heavy. If you're like, I want something a little sweet, sometimes in the industry people are weird about sweet wines. I'm like, wine is only made up of four things really. What's the problem with sugar? But you may want something that has a little sweetness. So if you're like, oh yeah, I want something with a little sweetness, they will give you wines that have more residual sugar. Or if you're like, I don't like sweetness, they can tell you, okay. If you're like, I like the tannin, I want something like, I'm a whiskey person or a rum person, so I don't mind that gripping taste, then they can give you a high tannin wine. If you're like, I actually don't like that, I want a red, but I don't want the drying, I don't want that low tannin, they will give you like a gamay, right? So there's a wine for like all of that. So I will say, the same way music is made up of like beats, tempo, and you're like, you pick a song or you pick a type of music because it hit those notes in a certain way that you like. Same thing. Wine is acidity, alcohol, sugar, tannin. And you can, once you taste a wine and you're like, I like this one, ask yourself, is it sweet? Then you like something with a lot of sugar. If it's not sweet, you're like, okay. Is it like spritzy and alive and just bright? Then that's the acidity. If it's not, then you're like, okay, I don't really love acidity. Is it heavy? Like, is it alcohol? Like the alcohol, you feel it in your chest, like it's burning. Then you may like a lot of alcohol. Or if it's not, then you like your wines low. And if it's the tannin, like that drying, gripping thing, if you like it, then that means you like high tannin. If you don't, you like low tannin. And once you taste one wine and can tell yourself those four things, then you can start saying, I want something with lots of acidity, lots of alcohol, lots of sugar, lots of tannin. Then we say, okay, then I'm gonna give you Italian wine. I'm gonna give you a Nebbiolo because that's gonna hit all of that. So my thing is, don't think you have to know everything because that it's a lot going on, and you can take any topic you know a lot about, anything, and you think about how much knowledge you have to carry around for that topic, know that wine has a lot of it too. So you're not expected to know, and you just need to kind of be able to describe very briefly why you may like something, or what the name of the wine is that you like. So if you say to me, if you're like to me, I like a rosé, I drink a rosé some of the time, right away I'm gonna be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go. If I'm gonna give you a red, I'm gonna give you something that's towards a lower tannin, maybe have a little bit more acidity, because even though it's a red wine, those are characteristics that are similar to a rosé. So I may
Mm.
give you what we call a cool climate gamay, so something from Niagara. And so that's going to be very fruit forward, not too much alcohol. Gamay is one of my favorite wine with oxtail. It just pairs so well with like oxtail and stew peas and things like that.
When
So
I go to Kingston now, I'm gonna say to them, "Hey,
yeah.
see my upstairs? Want a gummy?"
Yeah, it's like, I don't even we don't export. So Beaujolais is France, and that's Gamay. You might find some of those, but it's not very big on the market. But
Okay.
that's a good wine where if you, I think more so in like you will find it in London for sure. But that one Grenache, those are good wines that will go very well with Jamaican cuisine. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's very impressive. Like I said, I'm just trying to impress my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause all they know me for is rum, right? So
Right, yeah.
when we say no, we go for a meal and I say, yo, I would like a full body wine or a gummy.
Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna see everybody's face. I'm gonna say, no, no, man,
Remember
that's
those
dope.
separate, the game is the light
Yeah,
ones. Full bodied now, you're gonna get your Cabernet and your, yeah, the big ones.
don't worry, man. I'm gonna be messaging you at the same time, like
Yes, yeah.
phone number.
I've actually have a few people do that to me where they're like, I'm at dinner. This is what it looks like. What should I pick? And I'm like, really?
Yeah, no, no,
However,
no, no.
you should pick.
We need all the help we can possibly get. But look, it's been so fantastic speaking to you
It
and
was so
and
good.
hearing
Yeah.
about the dreams and pushing forward and positive mindset, etc. We love watching your reels. No, we love watching your TikToks.
Yes, yeah.
Um, and we want to see more of that. We
Yeah.
definitely want you to
Try.
keep in contact with us. Let us know your dreams. Let us know how things are going, what new things you're picking up,
Yeah.
etc., etc., etc. We would love to help as much as we can help as well, with you and bringing your dreams into fruition. So big up you, and
Thank
we see the
you.
certificates in the background.
Yes.
Um,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
is is was an amazing talk.
Thank you. Thank you. No, this was great, and I'm excited. Once it comes out, I can't wait to like share it with people because I feel like it was a really good conversation. I feel like lots of people will get something from it.
Definitely, definitely. I
Yeah.
feel so too. I feel so too. So thank you. I'm gonna press